Echinacea, North America's most widely distributed perennial. You can grow this on the East Coast, on the West Coast. It's native across much of the United States. It's easy to see why this flower is one of America's favorites. It can tolerate full sun, it's drought tolerant, it's easy to grow. In this video, we'll talk about how to fertilize, how to prune, how to water. We'll talk about aster yellow, which is a disease that these get, and so much more. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching A Plant Doctor. Let's get started. Right now it's middle August, and it's the ideal time to be pruning Echinacea. And so when we prune Echinacea, what we're really doing is a few things here. We can prune Echinacea to actually make it bloom again. If we remove some of these seed heads, it's actually going to encourage our Echinacea to bloom some more. So as we remove seed heads, the energy that's going to produce those seeds is going to go to produce new flowers. So that's kind of the thought process in producing new flowers, is we're just transferring the energy load from the seed that's being produced into new flowers. And so to do this, hand snips tend to work the best. If you have a pair of shears, that would work as well. But you just want to go in and some of these stalks that have seed heads, for example, like this one, go down and cut just above the last two sets of leaves, like this. So I hope this shows up on camera. There's one set of leaves here, there's two sets of leaves here. So I have two sets of leaves. What's going to happen is there's new growth that's going to come from here and generate out, and this will produce a new flower. So when we prune Echinacea, this is going to be dictated by the seasons where you live in particular. I'm in zone 8A in North Alabama, and our average first frost is November the 11th. So I may get one a little bit before Halloween. It may be after Thanksgiving before I get one, but I'm roughly 60 to 90 days out from my first frost, and these perennials will continue to grow until that first frost. So I'm pruning these roughly 2 to 3 months out from my last frost. I'm trying to provide some new fresh flowers for the pollinators. This is a pollinator garden. We've got black-eyed Susans and Echinacea and zinnias and some lantana just covering this whole area. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of pollinators that come through here every day. And so by pruning these, we're encouraging new flowers late in the season to where they still have something to feed on. An interesting thing about Echinacea is they also feed other wildlife. I'm not going to go in and prune all the seed heads off of these Echinacea. And the reason is birds love these seeds. So in particular, the American golden finch, I have them come in every evening and feed on these seeds. Even these seed heads here that I cut, I can spread them out on the ground and the birds will still pick them up and eat them. So I'm going to cut roughly 1/3 of my Echinacea off. So if I've got a dozen seed stalks here, I'm going to cut 3 or 4 off. I'm going to leave the other 7 or 8 out. And that's going to give an opportunity for the birds to have something to feed on, but we're also going to get late season flowers for those pollinators as well. So now that we've talked about when to prune, that late summer pruning, let's fast forward going into the springtime. So in the springtime, as the leaves begin to come out of the ground, so these are perennials, they're going to go dormant here in the winter at the first frost. If you want to, once the birds have kind of picked off the seeds, you can just cut these off in the winter, or you can leave them up. It really doesn't matter to the plant. They're still going to grow regardless. But as we get into early spring, so for me, first part of April here in zone 8A, these are going to start to emerge. And I will fertilize them with an all-purpose fertilizer. This is Osmocote. And so this has all of our macronutrients, the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but it also has the micronutrients as well. It has some iron, it has some magnesium, it has manganese. Everything that a plant needs to complete its life cycle is in Osmocote. And it's also a 90-day prill. It's going to feed for 3 months. And so I'll leave some of this down in the description below if you want to pick some of this up. I have extremely sandy soils here, so I need to supplement every so often. with the nutrients because my soils don't hold a lot of nutrients. So if you live in an area that has a lot of silt, you live in an area that has a lot of clays, it holds nutrients better, you don't even really need to fertilize your Echinacea. What you can do is just mulch in the summer or even in the winter and let the foliage come up through that mulch. And as that mulch breaks down, that's more than enough to give these Echinacea the nutrients they need to complete their life cycle throughout the year. I rarely, if ever, water these Echinacea. Now, in the first year that you plant an Echinacea and that root mass has not had time to spread out through the native soil, you may find yourself having to water once a week to get it going. But once the roots are established, you get into year 2, year 3, year 4 with your perennials, in particular native plants like Echinacea, you're not going to have to water unless you get into a severe drought situation. I haven't had a drought here in 3 or 4 years. I never water these Echinacea or these black-eyed Susans that you see around it as well. So if you're looking for some low maintenance, you don't have to get out and water a whole lot, you rarely have to prune, Echinacea is a good flower to look at. Aster yellow is a plasmobacteria and it infects anything in the aster family. So Echinaceas are in the aster family, and there's no cure for aster yellows. They're spread by leaf hoppers. So an infected plant has the plasmobacteria has the aster yellow in it. The leaf hopper sucks the phloem out of the plant, it goes to the next plant and begins to phloem feed off of it, and it spreads to the new plant, and that's how aster yellow spreads. And you can spray for leaf hoppers and probably minimize the damage to Echinacea, but I've elected not to do that here, and the reason being is this is my pollinator garden. I don't use any insecticides in this area at all. I have dozens of species of bees, moths, butterflies that are in here daily, and we don't have an insecticide that's going to just take care of the leaf hopper and not have a detrimental impact to the pollinators. So for me, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a pollinator garden. I want to attract all these insects in because I like to watch the butterflies and the bees move about the garden, and I'm introducing a substance to the garden that is going to be detrimental to their health. So what I do is first of all, if I see symptoms of aster yellow, and so what are these symptoms? If you see clusters of flowers at the end that have like new growth coming out of them, you probably have aster yellow. If you have what we call witch's broom, which is a cluster of vegetative material out on the end, you probably have aster yellow. If you see chlorosis colors of the leaf, so chlorosis is like a yellowing of the leaves and they begin to wilt, you probably have aster yellow. And once you have it in your area, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get away from because there's so many different hosts. For example, dandelions are a host for aster yellow. So if you have dandelions anywhere in your yard or the neighbor's yard, it probably has aster yellow. The leaf hoppers feed on it. They come over, they feed on your Echinacea. Now your Echinaceas have them. So how do we get around this without using insecticides? There's a few things you can do, and what I found the best thing to do is actually some of the seeds that you cut off. It doesn't take a lot. You can take something like this, and there's dozens of seeds in here. You can start new Echinacea with this. If you wanted to start them indoors, I've got a video on that. I'll try to leave a link up here somewhere to that video. Or you can just pull these seeds off the seed head, rake your mulch back, put the seeds down on the soil, put the mulch back on top of the seeds, and then next spring, these will germinate into new Echinacea. And they'll be viable for a year, maybe 2, but eventually they're going to get aster yellow as well. So I can still have Echinacea in this garden, but I just need to be of the understanding it's going to be more of an annual or a biennial, meaning it lasts for 2 years, but because by year 3 they're toast. The aster yellow just takes over and it kills them eventually. And that's kind of how I've ended up with these Echinacea. I used to have dozens of Echinacea, got an aster yellow infestation, And so I just save a few seeds every year, and I'll randomly put them throughout this perennial garden, and I'll have a few new ones come up, and they're great for the year or two that they're here, and then they die, and we can collect new seeds, and we just start that cycle over and over. I hope you found this video useful with your care for Echinacea. If you have a tip, trick, or hack that we did not go over in this video, please share that with us down in the comments below. Here on the channel, I like to think of us as a community of learners, and I would love to learn something from you, the viewer. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.